Hello,
everyone.
Hi. Hi, Daniel. Sorry, is it Daniel's son?
Oh,
Ryder,
Yes.
why? You waited until we went live and now you're gonna scream? Oh my god. Hi, Daniel san. Hi, Husky. Hi,
hello,
Russell.
everyone.
Hi, Caillou. Hello. So we don't want any stranger danger here on this podcast. So we're gonna introduce somebody very interesting, a yoga professional, trained in the mountain with monks and stuff, traveled so many crazy places. Also, my aunt.
By adoption, sort
By
of.
adoption.
Yes.
I mean, I've been
adopted
around.
you.
I've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, do you want to go by May or you want us to call you Miranda?
You can call me Miranda or May, whatever is easier. I answer to both.
All right. So, can you please tell chat? Oh my god, this is probably going to take a while, but please tell chat about yourself and all the places you've been.
Oh my gosh. How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding. So yeah. Hi everybody. I'm Miranda, or my nickname is May. I am a yoga teacher now. I have been living and traveling, working overseas since 2009. Is when I started, and I started out as an English teacher. It kind of is a very natural progression if you want to live overseas and you're a native English speaker. So I started out teaching English. I lived in northern Thailand in a beautiful city called Chiang Mai. Absolutely gorgeous. Top recommend right there. And then I have worked and lived in I'm not gonna say it all in one breath, but so I had Thailand. I lived in Indonesia, various parts of Indonesia. I was especially grateful because I got to live in Bali, which is like the mecca of a lot of yoga and spirituality. And it's just awesome. I lived there. I lived in Japan for about a year and a half, where I met my awesome husband. So a little shout out to him right there. And yeah, I lived in India, in northern India. That's an area called Dharamshala, which is very close to the border with Tibet. And so I actually got to hang out with some Tibetan monks and do these like meditation walks in mountains, and it was as awesome as it sounds. I know it sounds like really kind of like cocky to say, but there are a couple of things in my life where I'm like, that's actually as awesome as it says it like it's going to be on paper. Like it's a really cool experience. But yeah, I've traveled. Should I list off my countries now? Yay! Okay. So I have traveled to obviously the States, Canada, Mexico, Jamaica, Belize, Honduras. I have to think about it in chunks of geography. Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos. Oh, I know I'm going to forget some. Malaysia, Japan. There's so many more that I'm completely forgetting. Oh, Sri Lanka. I was in Sri Lanka for a while. I was in India. Yeah, there's going to be Germany. Trying to think of my European countries now: Scotland, Ireland, England, Prague, and Czech Republic. Awesome city. Germany, Poland. Yeah, there's some more that I'm gonna forget.
It's almost
But
probably easier to mention the places you haven't been.
I haven't, and I haven't yet been to any like South America or African countries. It's on my bucket list. And of course, Australia and New Zealand is definitely on my list of where I want to go, but I just haven't made it there yet. So, yeah, I have an awesome sister who has three amazing children. One of them who
There, no,
I know
look, you don't have to lie on this
very
podcast.
well. Yeah.
You don't have to lie here.
Okay.
You don't have to lie.
Okay.
We've all met. We've
No,
all.
they're awesome.
No. We've met Squizzle. We've met Squizzle.
We don't need to say that. No.
Hold on. Speaking of Squiz, she just came into my chat. So, question: who is your favorite niece, and why is it Squiz?
Why is it? I know, like that name is just been kind of stuck there. So
wow. Well, joke's on her. I'm the favorite niece now. So
you have been promoted, I believe. Yes,
there you go. Take that.
Overtaken.
I would like to say, I was cracking up because as soon as you said Japan, I just saw Cosmic's mouth open.
Aw. Yeah, by far Japan is like definitely probably the most unique country that I lived in. And nothing can prepare you for it. Such a culture shock. Um, I will say like and it's not all like I promote it so much because I love Japan and it's so unique, it's so different. And I say as a woman, especially as a female traveler, when I went there, I was by myself in the beginning, obviously, and it was the safest that I've ever felt. And I mean, there have been some countries that I have traveled through that as a woman you had to be like really on guard and like
Hmm.
hyper aware what was happening around you and trust your instincts kind of a thing. Like if you feel like
Right.
you're in a bad place, you need to get out. And that's the downside of traveling alone,
Hmm.
especially as a woman. And I mean, anything can happen to anybody, but I do know that as a female traveler, I have to be a little bit more on guard.
Right.
Um, but Japan, I would go out for walks in Japan at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, totally fine. I
Hmm.
actually stopped locking my apartment, which freaked out the guy that I met in Japan. Like he was like, you need to lock these doors." Like, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to lock my door today." I would go to bed without locking my doors.
Oh
And this
my
is like in the
God.
city. Like this is Tokyo. Like it wasn't like I was
Oh my
out in the
God.
countryside or anything, but I literally felt so safe that I was like, no one's going to mess with me because people just don't. Like it's like they would be ashamed to do something
Hmm.
kind of a thing,
It's
right?
big on
So
respect over there, right? It's a lot of like
it
Yeah.
really
respect.
is.
Hmm.
It is. And I mean, as a big tree hugger, I will say that's probably another reason why I love Japan so much because littering is like unheard of basically,
Hmm.
even people's cigarettes, like you'll see people, they don't really smoke in public that much because they also can like kind of looked on like it's rude.
Right.
But if they do and you're like in this dark corner of an alley smoking, you're like, that's not even illegal to smoke anyway.
Right.
um Usually when you see someone sneaking down the alley to smoke, but anyway, so but in Japan it's like they will hold on to their cigarette butts and they will find the trash can and like it's crazy. Like music
Hmm.
concerts, I went to this music concert and you know this, like you leave a concert, an outdoor concert, and there's like a sea of trash. People
Yeah.
just leave their crap for
Hmm.
somebody else to clean up. They don't in Japan. Like it freaked me out. I was leaving this concert and I'm like, dude, like there's nothing on the ground here. And I was like, I feel like I'm in like an alien planet, like kind of thing. So yeah, Japan's awesome in so many ways.
Hmm.
I can go on and on for hours about Japan, so I'll probably stop right now. But yes, it's definitely a place that I would say top notch to travel to for sure,
I'm
especially
sure
if you have to travel alone.
I'm sure lots of people in chat are very happy to hear that. Because I feel like
It's
that
great.
is a dream travel destination for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
And I mean, and it's got a great, like obviously it's got a fantastic anime scene. There's
Mm.
so many like
mhm.
conventions and dress up stuff. Um, I will say it's kind of like the one downside. So like a what is that called? Like a disclaimer kind of thing about
Right.
Japan. Um, they and it was a funny thing like to me anyway because tattoos are looked on like they're accepted, in the
Yeah.
States and like
Mhm.
it was like when I was teaching in Thailand and Indonesia, like I would wear teachers' clothing to cover my tattoos, obviously, and they're not
Mhm.
obvious. Like I don't have any on my face or anything like that.
Not
But
yet.
I
It's a
will
matter of
take
time.
tears around, yeah, totally gonna get my like tough tat. But yeah, like they kind of still have this sort of stereotype that tattoos are like mafia, like
Right.
yakuza.
Mhm.
So if you do travel to Japan and you have tattoos, you might want to try to cover them up. I mean, it's not like they're gonna like beat you in the streets or anything, but
Mhm.
like one of my favorite things to do in Japan is onsen, which is like the outdoor spa
Right.
area.
Mhm.
And there are some onsens that will not allow you to come in if you have a tattoo.
I've heard
They're
that.
yeah. So there's some that do, like, so you just have to kind of research it if you're gonna
Mhm.
do that. But it's kind of funny because like the thought of me being Yakuza was just hilarious.
It checks out.
I'm like,
It's
literally, come on.
Yeah, if I go, it's like what Vivi just said in my chat that I'm screwed. I have a tattoo very obviously on my shoulder, and I have plans to get a lot more. So if I go, I definitely got to cover up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, it was kind of a funny experience. Like I was only there a couple of weeks and I was out with two of the other teachers that I was working with, and they're both British, Emma and
Mhm.
Emmy. And it was just funny because like Emma had tattoos everywhere. Like she is a heavily tatted chick.
Right.
And these random people came up to us. We were in Shinjuku. And if you ever seen the footage of like the famous crosswalk in Tokyo,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that is in Shinjuku, where it's like the lights turn green and it's this massive, and somehow it's organized. It looks
Yeah.
crazy, but
I've
it
watched
really
those
is actually
videos.
organized.
I've watched the
Oh, it's
videos
amazing.
and like
Yep,
it's organized chaos. Like,
it is, and that is an amazing way actually. Like that the two words are organized chaos
mhm.
describes it very well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but we were standing, we're waiting for the light to turn for the crosswalks in Shinjuku, and these random guys came up to us, and one of them had a like professional looking video camera, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Do you have a minute? We want to talk to you about your tattoos." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, is this like, are they interviewing us before you get thrown in like tattoo prison?" I mean, what is like they need to know what it means if they're like worried I'm part of the mob, but no,
No,
they were
you can
young
stay
and
out.
they
You can have
actually
it.
were like,
Literally did
we
nothing
want
but
to change people's
Go ahead, Chad.
perspectives.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I had an intruder in my house.
It's true.
Chat,
But
don't forget that you are absolutely allowed to ask questions at any time, and
yes.
we will get to them at any time.
Yes. Oh, I'm looking at the chat thing now. Ah, hi. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Daniel. I'm just reading. I just read Daniel's.
Uh,
Yes, like my martial arts husband, but nah, he
mhm.
was just my boyfriend at the time. But yes, so that's where I met Daniel, and like I will say that to be in Japan was a dream for both of us.
Mhm.
Me because I grew up always hearing stories about Japan from my military dad, and his military service led him to Japan. At some point, so I grew up hearing all these stories, and I remember as a kid thinking like, no country can be that cool. And then I
Right.
went, and I'm like, fair enough. Well played, old man. You are correct. Yes.
Dang. You
He
got
was,
got.
yeah, like he did not blow it up at all. Like he didn't exaggerate it. It really is just one of the coolest places. So,
Um, but
yeah,
before we get too in depth into the travel stuff, I would like to
yes.
point out that I believe, as far as I'm concerned, I would say that you have a fairly successful YouTube channel.
Oh yes. Sorry, I don't even talk about like I'm the worst person at self promotion. I will talk about travel and
Hmm.
environment all day long, and then I'm like, oh yes, and by the
Yeah.
way, um, so yes, I started a channel back when COVID hit, and I was living in Denmark, and due to COVID, obviously everything shut down, and it was not safe to teach face to face anymore. So I had to, stop teaching like that. And my awesome guy Daniel was the one who was like, this would be a good opportunity to think outside the box. And I never taught online. I'd always done face to face and like organic teaching. So it was definitely his idea, and I was so nervous because I'm not a technology person at all. I
Runs
would
in the
gladly
family. Runs.
it really does. Yeah, so I basically am like, I'm happy when I'm like out in nature and being like a total hippie, and like I've had people call me a Luddite before, and not against technology.
Hmm.
Okay, I just it's a struggle for me. I'm not gonna lie. So
Hmm.
for some reason, like yoga, science, all that, I love. When it comes to computers, I'm like derpy derp. So it was sort of like he encouraged me to do this, and I was like, well,
Hmm.
I'll try, but with help. So he totally, I had my awesome Danish friend Christina did the logo for my channel. She's an amazing graphic artist, and she did the design for the channel. Daniel kind of helped me set up the channel, the YouTube channel, open that up, start the Facebook page. So I'm also on Facebook. The Mae Yoga Facebook page is there,
Hmm.
and that's how people can message me. So I
Right.
always say, if you have any questions about your health, if you want to know, like, hey, I'm having this limitation in my left shoulder, like, da da da, what can I do? What would you recommend? I am very happy to offer
Mhm,
advice.
mhm.
Having said that, obviously, I don't see you face to face, like I'm not there. So I'm always really big on the channel about respecting your body, honoring where you are, not overdoing it, not injuring yourself.
Mhm.
Which is a struggle for yoga teachers when we're not there to make sure that people aren't going past their limits. To just be able to communicate that, it's probably been the hardest thing for me. But I now have 80 videos, I think, on my hello doggy. I can hear him in the background.
He's sitting underneath me.
Oh, he totally loves it. He's like, yes, 80 videos. So yeah, I think there's like 80 videos on there now. 1,500 something subscribers.
1.57K.
There you go. Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey
Mhm,
because I never
Mhm.
saw myself as being an online teacher. I
mhm,
I always imagine, hanging out in ashrams and, being out in the woods by a
mhm.
waterfall teaching. But it's it was good that it was able to be done because, like I said, like with COVID, I just obviously we couldn't offer those classes in person anymore. So yeah, I started the
Mhm.
channel because of that. It's kind of grown a bit.
Just a little bit.
I feel I'm just not a very like gloaty kind of a person where I'm like, hey, check out my
Relatable.
channel.
I feel like me and Cosmic can relate. We spend a lot of time going, thanks for being here. Why are you here?
What? Or did you stumble into the wrong room? Because I don't know, man. But yeah, and I mean, there's YouTube is awesome for that. Like that, there are no obviously like upload fees. There's no application if you want to,
Mhm.
go on YouTube. So it's been a nice platform to kind of explore and grow in
Right.
and meet some really amazing people. And it's kind of funny, when I started it, I had this idea of like, well, I'll start it so that people in Denmark, like my students, people that I was teaching in Denmark, could still access me and practice with me. And then I put it on Facebook, and people, like, I'm still friends with old yoga students from Bali and
Yeah.
Japan and the States, and they were like, why didn't you tell me you were on YouTube? I'm like, oh yeah, World Wide Web. And this is what
www. Yeah.
so this is what I say. Like, I am just not the big tech person, but I was like, oh yeah, you can get those too. Check out my
Mhm.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm not. I just didn't think about it. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, you can go on there. It's
Mhm.
totally cool.
Before
Um,
we get to, because there is a question over here in chat that I think is a very good question, but I'm gonna put Cosmic on the spot real fast. Uh,
yes.
so I gave Cosmic the very bare minimum rundown of the things that you have done, and I just want to put you on the spot real fast and see what is your impression when Miranda lists off all these places and stuff.
I- like
Crazy.
I've never traveled outside of the states before, and it is definitely something that I want to do. So hearing of all the
Yeah.
places you've been to, it intrigues me more to go out, especially to Japan. I want to go to Japan more than anywhere else in the
Mhm.
world,
Yeah.
obviously. I feel like I make that very obvious on my channel with how much I talk about anime.
Yeah.
Um,
And
it,
it is a prime place for it, for sure.
Mhm.
Like, you would
absolutely.
not be disappointed. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
it's just hearing all the things that you've done, like going around, like obviously being an English teacher in other places, doing yoga with the monks in the mountains. That blew me away severely. That's like stuff
Yeah.
you hear like in movies
So
or stuff that you
we
hear randomly for rumors, but like to now talk to someone who's
Oh
actually
man.
done it.
we do me and Squizzle used to joke around and be like, you know that aunt from every movie that like shows up from her crazy adventure? She exists. We know her. She's real.
It's me. Yeah, I mean, this is an older movie, but like, I don't know if you ever know the movie Eat, Pray, Love. I think it was
Yeah.
Julia Roberts, and it
Mhm.
was based on an Elizabeth Gilbert novel. But it's funny because she literally does like, the order of eating, like going to Italy, and then praying in, in India, and then going to Bali and finding love. And what's funny is that I did it like I haven't in Italy yet, which is probably good actually, because I really would be like 5,000 pounds because I love pasta. But I did the Bali thing first, and like did the whole spiritual, and being with these different yogis
Do
and
it, Daniel.
yoginis, and and then I went to India, and I did the silent meditations and the
Mhm.
chakra healing workshops, and I backpacked around, and I actually can I tell like probably like the coolest story of India. Is okay if I share this weird story?
What? You
Yeah.
want to tell a cool, interesting story on a
Well,
podcast?
about that. So I was in Dharamshala in northern
Mhm.
India, and it was a weekend, and we had a few days off from the teacher training, and so a group of us, a couple of us trainees, went to this kind of like temple that was in, and I wish I knew the name, and I'm really sorry, I suck at names and geography, but it was out in the mountains. Like we had to trek to it and everything, and like we're out there and we're walking around these really cool like old temples. There were dogs everywhere, so I have like all these pictures of me petting random temple dogs because I was like, doggy puppy, yay. um but yeah, I kind of went off this like tiny little path that wasn't like, it was like a wooded path, like you could
Mhm.
see people had walked along it, but it definitely wasn't like well treaded. And I'm walking on this path, and I come across this little hut, and I can smell this. It wasn't like a white sage smoke, but it was similar to that. And I remember being like, "Oh, that smells amazing!" And I kind of peeked in because I'm being an intrusive American. I'm so sorry. But I kind of peek in this little hut, and it's this man that, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. The guy could have been like 300 years old. Like every inch of his body was a wrinkle, but he looked so beautiful. I don't even know how to explain it. Like he was just this, no hair. He's sitting in the Padmasana, which is lotus pose, which is actually a difficult seated pose, like to nail and to hold. And he's like probably sits in that like for like 12 hours a day. Like you could just see that he spent his days like doing nothing but meditation, and this was part of his journey of life. And he's sitting next to this little fire that he had built with these herbs in it, which is what I was smelling. And I guess, like, I don't know, I didn't think I made any sound, but he opened his eyes gently and looked over, and I was like, oh shit, I've been caught, like, I'm so
I
sorry. And
got
he was
caught.
I'm making that whole like bowing frantically, like, oh, I'm so sorry to intrude. And he just smiled and like gestured me to come in. And I was like, okay. So I came in, and he like did the whole gesture to sit down. And I sat down with him, and we just sat there in total freaking silence in front of this little campfire with these herbs. And I'm not even gonna lie, like I totally felt like I had this sort of out of body experience, just sitting there with this like so much wisdom of sitting across from me, and
Mhm.
we didn't speak a word to each other. That was the kookiest thing. There was no like conversation. It was just this like amicable silence and invitation to be still. And I did, and it was it was very kooky. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but I
Mhm.
just remember like all of a sudden, apparently I'd been gone for a while. I kind of apparently my other teacher friends were like freaking out, thinking I'd been like kidnapped or I fell down a mountain. And all of a sudden I hear this soft Miranda. And I was just like, I was, in this like heightened sense, and I was like, oh my God, is it, the eternal sources speaking? Is it God is real? But yeah, so I was just really this weird thing. And all of a sudden it was like, Miranda, you have to go. And I remember being like, I'm not ready to go. This world is awesome. I don't want to leave. And then I hear Gurumuk was one of my friends, and Gurumuk was like, Miranda, it's Gurumuk. And I was like, oh, okay. I kind of like came out of the
Yeah.
trance, I guess I was in, and like I stood up very quietly and like bowed to the old gentleman that I never spoke to, and he just gave me this beautiful smile of like total, I don't know how to explain it, like peace and acceptance
Hmm.
and all those beautiful things that you hear about, but in your daily life, like you're like, that's not real, you know. But it really was in this person's existence, the way that they lived. And I there are moments where I get so stressed about the way the world is and anxious and everything like that. And then I just try to remember those feelings at those moments. So, yeah, weird experiences can happen in India. I mean, they can happen anywhere, but obviously, places where you come across these people who live such a different lifestyle
Hmm.
than we do. You know, these are people who, if you gave them a laptop, they'd probably be like, what is this, like why, you know, why are you giving me this weird
Right.
flappy thing, you know, or something. They just have a different path in life, and you know, whether it's better or worse than what we have, that's up to debate, you know.
Hmm.
I will say that after I traveled for a while, and this is why I always encourage people, please, 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 please travel. And don't just travel to like a resort. Don't just go
Right.
with like a trek. Don't just go with like a group, a tour guide. You know, like try to go to a place and go to like off the beaten path,
Yeah.
because you're going to see things that you could not imagine. You're going to
Hmm.
meet people that you just never even thought were part of this
Hmm.
world, and you're gonna come back different. And that's the crazy thing,
Hmm.
is you're gonna come back with an appreciation and an awareness that you just did not have before you traveled.
Hmm.
So that's what, like, honestly, like traveling and living in third world countries in particular really does open up your perspective
Hmm.
so much.
I
So
I think that's
yeah.
I find that interesting because I almost think that even if you can't travel, like I don't know that people do that in their regular life, you know, like you go around city and you don't dare to experience the new things and stuff and go to
Yeah.
the little bar on the corner or whatever. So it's like a
Yeah.
good lesson for even in your like own neighborhood. Just try going somewhere
Yeah.
new and experience
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I lived in California for about 7 years before I started living overseas.
Hmm.
And I did a lot of volunteering. And I made sure that, obviously, I'm a tree hugger, so I always did a lot of environmental stuff. But
Right.
I also did you know, projects with homeless people, projects with people that were home, like in home care with HIV and AIDS, people that were, you know, children that had been taken into like out of abused homes. And you know, you
Hmm.
kind of like put yourself in these areas that you might not feel comfortable in, but that's a good thing. Like
Right.
it's a good thing to get out of that comfort zone, because
Yeah.
that's when you actually, you expand, you learn, you know, you learn things about
Hmm.
yourself. And it's a cool, you know, obviously journey
Hmm.
to take anywhere in the world. If you can't travel to like Timbuktu, you know, the far
Hmm.
ends of the earth, like travel to a different area of your own neighborhood, volunteer, like do things that you didn't expect to do, and
Right.
you'll have cool experiences for sure.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, our Vivi has a question in chat here, and he asks, if you could
Yes.
only visit one more country, what would be your top choice?
Shit. Um, oh, oh, that's an awesome question. Only one more, my entire life, like,
Yeah, I think you only get one more.
oh god.
One more.
Is this like the genie thing? Like I can't wish for three more wishes, right?
Mm,
No. So I have to say I am very intrigued, and I'm actually looking at doing some extra yoga teacher training in this country. So it's really at the forefront of my mind, and it's Nepal. Everything I've read about
mhm,
Nepal has been very just intriguing to me. It's been very like it's a bit of India, it's a bit of Sri Lanka, it's a bit of Thailand, it's a bit of Indonesia, like in Bali. So it's kind of this like interesting mix, and the people there, from what I've read, are very like family oriented, hardworking, like
mhm.
so I would be very interested in going to Nepal. So if I had to choose one, that would be my answer. Final answer.
Okay,
Oh,
there you go.
that was so hard. That was so hard. That was a hard one.
Now,
Yes.
now I feel like I've hogged the Miranda, and I've known her for, oh my God, what, 13-ish, 13, 14 years at this point. So let's get some questions from somebody who's never experienced the Miranda before. Cosmic,
I'm ready.
go on, just experience the Miranda.
Well, first, I have a question in my chat from Husky, so I'm gonna ask that first.
Yes.
This is for all of us here. If you could leave right now for anywhere in the world, all expenses paid, where would you go?
Ooh. All expenses paid. Could I bring somebody?
I, I
um,
would assume so, because everything's paid for you.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, like I have never been to Italy. And it has always
Mm.
been not just because of the eat, pray, love thing. I really do want to go before that. I promise. Just it would just have to be like a limited time, like maybe a week, and I wouldn't like turn into a big bread roll or a noodle or pizza. But I would love to just backpack through Italy with my guy Daniel. So yeah, that would be
Mhm.
my dream if it was all expense paid because it is not cheap
No.
to travel over there. So yes.
See, I think a lot of people would think that I'd pick Japan, but weirdly, I think I'd pick the UK first, just because, like, I want to experience not modern UK. I want to go to like
Yeah.
villages in the UK and see like
Castles.
the cool old stuff in the
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
kind of funny too, is like when you travel to those kinds of places, like I traveled through England and I remember standing in this castle and it was built in like the 1600s. And I'm sitting here going, that's older than my country, kind of like, wow. And like, I mean, nothing against America. I love where I'm from, but it is kind of funny when people are like, we're going to study American history and it's like 240 something years old. And then I go to this country and they're like, this temple was built in, like 1000 AD. And I'm like, ha, that's interesting. So yeah, England is amazing. Scotland is,
uh,
so yes, UK, go.
Cosmic, where are you going?
I'm gonna seem very basic. I would obviously go to Japan, but me and my boyfriend have talked about this. When we go to Japan, we as much as we want to go to Tokyo, we're obviously gonna visit Tokyo. We want to go to the outskirts. We want to go to all the old shrines. We want to go visit like small little like villages and all that, and see the history of Japan.
Yep.
Because like he studies Japanese, I'm starting to learn it. I've learned some random history with Japan. He knows a lot more than I do, but it's the history in Japan has always intrigued me, and I would love to go to any kind of historical spot I can and just try and just vibe, just kind of like take like
Mhm.
enjoy the moment. I don't care about taking pictures when I go. Like I'll take some in Tokyo. Who cares? I want to experience the villages. I want to experience the shrines. I don't want to worry about any of that. I just want to shut myself out and just
Yeah.
enjoy the ride.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's an awesome plan because honestly, like it's the country itself is as a whole very unique, but then just the little differences between, I lived and taught in Tokyo, but I was able to do these like weekend trips to Kamakura is probably one of my favorite places, kind of like it's not that far from Tokyo, but they have a lot of onsen. They have this humongous Buddha statue that I just love to go. You can go to Osaka, you can go to Kyoto, like you can kind of do these trips and see the old castles and see these temples and just kind of explore. And it's you will not be disappointed. I
Mhm.
can't imagine for myself ever being disappointed in any of the experiences I had there. So
Right.
um, and I would say like it's great that you actually want to do that without worrying about footage and because people are like you've gone to all these places like why don't you have videos of them. I'm like because I was experiencing them. Like I'm
Mhm.
really bad about it. I'm just be like I'll be like out in this beautiful place and I'm like I should take a picture now because I'm like in that place in that moment and I don't want to like
Right.
worry about oh let me get out my camera and blah, 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 so
Yeah, like I don't.
it's something. Go ahead, sorry.
You're fine. It's like I don't want to worry about like sure I'll have like if I take the pictures, I'll have like the memories and all that blah blah blah. You can show
Yeah.
everyone. But it's like when you go to those kind of places, like I've been like the closest thing I've been to out of the country was kind of Hawaii. When I went to
Mhm.
Hawaii, I went to a lot of like the older areas. I went to like the Polynesian Cultural Center. I visited some like old places there.
Yeah.
I turned my phone off. I turned my camera off. I didn't even touch it. I didn't even think about it. I wanted to experience everything those people had to offer. They showed me how
Yeah.
uh, their their tribes used to work back then. They showed me how like they got food, they fished, their
Yeah.
spiritual sides of stuff and all that. It was so enjoyable to do that, and that's what I want to do in Japan because like everything intrigues me there. I don't want to care about my electronics. In fact, I'll just like leave
Mhm.
them in a bag and like never touch them. Like I just want to experience everything
Right.
the best I can.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to be said for like taking pictures, like especially if you're traveling with someone, there are those moments that you want to, when I was traveling through Japan with Daniel, there were definitely some cute moments where we were like being all cheesy couple, and like
Mhm.
Right.
there's this one place where you like rode this like sky car up to the top of this mountain. It was this beautiful overlook and they had it all set up and they had these Daniel's gonna laugh when he hears the story. They had this like, wooden like cutout thing of like two cranes that were kissing and they made like a little heart with the shape. And I was looking at it, and Daniel's like, "You totally want to get a picture of us kissing in front of that?" I'm like, "I really do," like, "Oh my god!" So we totally did the cheesy, couple like kissy thing, So like, there's something to be said. Like people that want to go out and they want to capture it on film, that's great. Like if that's what you want to do. And I sort of go in between sometimes, but for the most part, like if I'm in that experience, it's really hard for me to want to be like, please put a pause on this moment so I may bust out my electronic. Like,
Mhm.
I'm just not, which makes me probably a bad travel vlogger because I'm like, oh yeah, it was really awesome. Let me tell you about it because I don't have any.
That's
So
fair.
just take my
Mhm.
word. Yeah, it's just trust me on this. It's awesome.
I've
But
kind of
yeah.
cuz like I've kind of been in that I've been trying to experience things more and less through my phone. So I think I came up with a rule that I think works best for both ends, at least for me, which is I will, the rule is take a picture when you feel like a picture should be taken, and then put your phone away. And then just put it
Yeah,
away, get your memory and then enjoy the moment.
yeah.
You
And
don't
it's true because
yeah.
you're going to look back on those photos and they are like when you're in your 50s 60s 70s or beyond, they're going to be nice to have
Mhm.
some documentation of like I was there, that was me, look how
Yeah.
young I am, and there that's the nice part of it, to have those like memorabilia kind of things. But you're
Mhm.
right, like it's good you go with what you feel like. If
Mhm.
you feel like capturing it on film, great. If you feel like capturing it in the
Mhm.
present moment that you're in, great.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
totally agree with that way of thinking.
I
Yeah.
also think that there's something that because the problem I think that happens is that people will stop and they'll try and get the perfect image. They'll try and get that perfect photo opportunity, that perfect thing. But I
Yeah.
think it's more realistic if you capture it how it was, and then when you look back on it, you can be like, "Oh, it wasn't perfect. It was what it
Yeah.
was."
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was cloudy, it was rainy,
Mhm.
it was, we were like sweaty and gross, so we didn't want to like stand there too
Yeah.
long. Like, yeah, it's
Mhm.
totally it's realistic that way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I will
Also,
say like I like as someone that like I do love photography. I've always been kind of intrigued by it and have always wanted the fancy camera and to learn all the aspects of it. Um, so I can definitely appreciate like
mhm.
a good photo and the association that it can hold and it can take you back to that moment. So I will say like I have mad respect for people who can do these amazing photos and capture it while I'm over here on my like phone, like click, like that doesn't happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like auto setting, but yeah. So obviously, like for those who have trained in photography, like I know that is a level that I haven't ever hit. As far as like understanding all of the dynamics of what makes a great photo.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll take a picture and it turns out really great. I'm like, how did I do that? Like, ah, ju-
Mhm.
just luck, that's all.
Also, I changed outfits because somebody redeemed it. I just thought about the fact that in a YouTube video in the future, people would not understand why I'm suddenly not wearing the same thing.
No, you just, you're like,
Branding, more
I just
branding.
want to be different.
I do have another question in my chat for
Yes.
you.
Yes.
It's for people who've never tried yoga. What would you recommend for newbies?
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay,
Who's
that is a
asking
very
that
great
one?
question.
That's from Kobo.
Oh, nice.
So, well, thank you. That is an excellent question. You're right. So, I mean, everyone starts at a different level in
Mhm.
any exercise routine, obviously, or form of exercise. So, the biggest things that I could say for those just starting out with yoga is you want to, I mean, and I have on my channel, I do have beginners yoga. It's a couple of videos there that are beginners. And then any video where I've labeled is suitable for those starting out, for beginners and stuff like that, those are the ones you want to go for.
Right.
Because how I sort of structure my classes is I sort of aim most of my classes, unless they specifically say advanced, I will aim my classes at a beginner's level, and then I will offer variations to, if you want to go deeper, if you want to go further with this
Yeah.
pose, you can do this.
Mhm.
So if you're a beginner, obviously you're not going to be a pretzel, probably, like you're going to want to like respect where you are. Like don't be all Gumby on me or
Mhm.
anything, because and this is, I will say, I mean, I love all styles of yoga, as is required to be a yoga teacher. But I will say, especially if you're starting out, please, please, please do not try hot yoga, the Bikram yoga,
Oh, yeah.
because this is the problem. I have seen it so many times where someone is just starting out in yoga and they try a hot yoga class. And when you go in there, they have it at a very elevated temperature. They've got like the humidity in the room is quite high. And what happens is that your muscles relax. Like that's what, you go to a spa, what happens? You feel more relaxed.
Right.
And that's why. So you get this increased blood flow to your muscles, which feels really nice. However, if you do not know your own limitations, and as a beginner, you probably haven't gotten that much self awareness of your body yet,
Right.
you will go into a hot yoga class and you will go so much further into a pose than
Mhm.
you should. And what that does is it invites injury, and you overstep yourself, so that you feel really good when you're doing it and you're like, yeah, look at me, I'm a badass, but then you
Mhm.
leave the class, the body temperature cools down, your muscles tighten up, and all of that overextension that you just did comes back and kicks you in the bum.
Mhm.
So, as a beginner, please, please, please do not go to a hot yoga class. Like until you learn where you are, until you can like self restrict yourself. Never ever try hot yoga.
Mhm.
That's my big please, please, please. Um, with beginners, starting out with seated poses, trying to work into your spine first before you do anything else, because probably one of the most like common injuries I see in people just starting out in yoga is they hurt their spines, they hurt their backs, and it is your core of your body. So if you bring in an injury to your spine, it's going to affect you much longer. It's going to inhibit you from wanting to try yoga again. And that's kind of the downside of, again, of hot yoga, is if you get an injury and you just started you've tackled this thing of yoga, you're probably going to be a bit gun shy to try it again. And I have seen more people quit because of an injury in the beginning than for any other reason. um so that's why, like with my classes, I'm always really big on, don't compete. If you're in a class,
Mhm.
never ever ever look at what your neighbor's doing, because everyone's at different levels. And this is kind of the good thing about it being online, is you don't have to worry about, your ego coming in and being like, I could do that too, watch me,
Mhm.
so and then you end up like, with like your foot behind your head and you can't leave, move it. So I would say like don't ever put yourself like in like comparison with another person,
Mhm.
because we all of our bodies are different, we all have different genetics, we all have
Mhm.
different backgrounds, injuries, limitations, those still, you have to know what those are for yourself. But yes, anything involving seated positions, doing cat cows, doing downward dog, upward dog, your
Mhm.
basic warriors, those are going to be a good start for my beginners out there. And there are some beginners videos on my YouTube channel. See, I did the promotion thing. Woo woo! You know,
You did it.
like one time, that's it. I'm like, nope, 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 done.
It's okay.
But yeah,
It's okay. We haven't really figured out the promotion thing because I know that every once in a while we'll be sitting here and I'll be like, oh yeah, we have a YouTube channel. Did you know that?
you need like you need like someone to walk like in with the sign,
Yeah.
like
Speaking.
big,
Oh
like,
wait.
neon
Oh wait.
arrow.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Watch this. This is gonna be real smooth. Wow. Speaking of YouTube channels, did you know that we have a YouTube channel that has a new video out today? Wow. Did you know that? Do you
Yes,
see that smooth
yes.
transition I just did?
I love it. It was a flow. It was
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like yoga.
mhm.
It was like a flow.
Yeah, just
right
like
there. You
yoga.
totally
Just like
nailed it.
yoga. You should travel on over to that.
Stop.
Wow, you got the travel thing in there
Uh-huh.
too. That's
Oh yeah.
impressive.
Oh yeah, I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Yeah, yeah. Nailed it. You know, so yeah,
Lord.
that's awesome. I mean, that's the thing is like I am the worst at promotion. It is
Mhm.
hilarious. Like I will try to talk to people, like random people, and I'll just be like,
Mhm.
"Hey, you have a phone. Do you go on YouTube?" It's like so awkward, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, I feel like I'm like about to ask this person out on a date, but I really just want to tell them about my channel. You know, like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hey there," you know.
It's
And
a
I'm
thing.
sure,
It's a thing they don't teach you. Like, and I'm sure, like,
yeah.
do you feel the same way about this, Cosmic? Where it's like, you start streaming, you get people following you, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't know how to advertise. What are you talking about? Like,
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm really bad at it. Like, I'm just starting the TikTok things and posting,
Yeah.
actually remembering to post on Twitter that I'm live and everything.
If Streamlabs did not post that I was live on Twitter, my Twitter would be barren wasteland.
Man, but that's awesome that you actually like, and this is something that whole social media platforms, right? So
Mhm.
I have the YouTube channel, I've got the Facebook page, I started an Instagram page as well. Not like have done a lot with it because I'm just not a social media
Mhm.
person very much.
Mhm.
I need like a social media manager to do all this
Well,
for me
you
because
know,
honestly, I'm like, hey,
you know
yeah,
what's
by the
funny?
way,
What's funny and ironic about saying that is, I actually so before I started streaming, I was a social media manager. I was a social media manager for Squiz and Rez and
yeah.
somebody a while ago named Liquid Luck. And like I was on top of it. I was telling them to post. I was telling them all of this stuff. And then the minute that I'm like, oh, I have a sub button. How do tweet?
Oh
It's
my
really
gosh.
easy like that, though.
Yeah.
You can help
Oh,
others so easily, but the moment it comes to yourself, that's just when it
Uh-huh.
just shuts down.
Yeah.
no,
Mhm.
you're exactly right. Like I did a community post. So like after you hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, YouTube opens up. It's sort of like the Facebook of YouTube, right? So you have your community tab in your channel, and you can like post pictures. You can do polls for your subscribers. You can just like it's basically like a way to interact with the subs. And I I'm like I put up two posts, and one of them was like a picture of me with a dog. And I was like, hey, this is a
Mhm.
preview for
Mhm.
the video, next video. And then the other one was because I finally figured out how to do a short only because two of my other YouTube buddies helped me. And so on that, I was like, by the way, I have these two friends who also have channels. Like, you should go check out their channels. It was like, to me, that seemed like a totally normal thing to like use that
Mhm.
platform to promote my friends. And then I was like, why can't I do that for like, yeah, like I have no problem promoting other people and
Mhm.
talking them up. But when it comes to me, it almost feels like conceited to be like, you should go and check out my channel. But
Right.
I know that's the world we live in. Like that is, the world of social media. I have to kind of
Mhm.
get over that hurdle of feeling like it's odd and feeling like it's sort of like an ego thing to promote my work.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of where
Yeah.
I am. And I saw like Lord of Dragons was writing about, yeah, that he did photography in school, and that is, I'm mad jealous. Like I want
Yeah.
that knowledge, and hopefully one day, like it's like trying to get a good composition. Yeah,
Right.
hopefully one day that will be another niche that I can grab onto, because honestly, like I never saw myself, just a little weird story. I never
Mhm.
saw myself teaching yoga. Like I always, I started doing yoga because I was in a very bad car accident. There's this whole long backstory, but I was in a very bad car accident. I had about 30% mobility in my neck and spine. I was basically like
Mhm.
Frankenstein's monster. Like if someone said my name, I had to like, do the full body turn and everything. It was horrible. And I was in pain every day.
Right.
And I went through chiropractors, acupuncturists, acupressure, massage therapy, physical therapy. I did it all.
Right.
And nothing was working for me. And this is back when I was living in California, and I was like
Good night,
27, I think.
Daniel. Good night, Daniel-san.
Oh yes, it is late. Thank you, babe, for staying up so late. Oh,
Have
I
a
said
good
babe.
one.
That's my man.
Gasp.
Um,
Talking about your
it is.
relationship on Twitch? Banned.
What? I totally outed him. Yes, that's my boy. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning there. Oh, babe. But yeah, so I kind of came to yoga because of an injury, of an
Mhm.
accident, and it was because a friend of mine kept like encouraging me to try it. And I will be honest, like I could say this. I thought yoga, I really, before I did it, I thought it was just like a bunch of weird people sitting around, like chanting "Om," and I
Yeah.
was like, "That's not exercise, y'all. Like, y'all just sitting there. Like, what are you doing? You can't like think healthy and be healthy." And then I
Mhm.
did it, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know I had muscles there. That
Yeah.
I have pain in places I didn't know existed in my body. How the heck did that happen?" But it was amazing. I had a lovely Brazilian teacher named Elka, and I will never forget that woman because she took me under her wing. Like she was like, I can see you're in pain. I can see you're limited. We're going to get you back to a normal level of living. And I was
Mhm.
like, at the time, I was like, yeah, whatever. That's what the doctors, that's what the chiropractor said. That's what everybody else has said. And she actually helped me return. And I fell in love with yoga because of that. I was practicing it. Never saw myself as a teacher, but the world is weird, and
Mhm.
situations arose that I was given these opportunities to join in certain groups, and and kind of nurture my love of yoga.
Mhm.
And people were like, "You're already a teacher. You're already an English teacher." I was a science teacher as well, because I have a bachelor of biology, a bachelor of science biology, and so like I have this background. And people were like, "Why aren't you teaching yoga?" And I'm like, I don't know. I never thought. I just never thought
Mhm.
about it. So it's kind of like it was one of those life lessons of like you never know where life is going to take you, and if you
Right.
just kind of try to stay open to them, sometimes you get those really, they're not all perfect. It's not like it's
Mhm.
not been easy. It's not been like sunshine and roses and rainbows all the time, but some of the hardest moments in my life have led to some of the greatest, if that makes
Mhm.
any sense at all. So yeah, I
She's a
would say
lady.
like, so I'm just putting out that philosophy, dropping those little nuggets of wisdom.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know it sounds super cheesy when I say it out loud, but it's been one of those things that's like I've seen again and again, and not just in my life. Like I've seen it, people take a chance and they try something that they never thought that they would be able to do, and it doesn't always work out. But then what's funny is that if it doesn't work out, it often leads you to what does. So it's kind
Mhm.
of, you know you just never know. You never know what's right around the corner.
Mhm.
Anyway, I feel like I'm like Mary frickin' Poppins over here. Like Pippi friggin' long stocking,
Now,
Woohoo!
now,
Anyway.
before I throw this back over to Cosmic to ask all of the unknown questions, I'm just gonna just a random question. God, say 10 to 20 ish people were watching a podcast, and some of those people happen to, I don't know, spend a majority of their day either in an IT department or I don't know, streaming on Twitch for hours. Uh, What would be a good, I don't know, pose or stretch for somebody who just, not any of us though. None of us do that.
No,
I
No,
mean, it's just
no.
I've heard of these people before, but I don't know them
I
personally.
don't know. I go out,
yeah,
I go outside and touch grass often, so it's not me.
not you.
But if it
Um,
was me, what would you, what pose
what
would
would
you
you
say would
recommend?
be or something?
I would say, like, unfortunately, you think about the human body, we are not meant to be seated and doing computer work. Like, our bodies are not built to be bent in that way with the arms extended like that for long periods of time. So, it's kind of funny you asked that. I think you're a bit of a mind reader because I've actually been designing a chair yoga sequence for people that do a lot of desk work and people like that are students or
Oh.
doing computer stuff.
Ooh.
Kind of kooky right now. Yeah, I mean, and I want to get that done in the next week, so that should be up on my channel pretty soon. But you have to really think about the compression of, especially your spine, from sitting for extended periods of time, and like that compression that happens will cause some tightness, especially in between like your vertebrae of your spine, and you will lose your flexibility that you have, which will of course lead to increased chances of injury and just discomfort and tightness and pain. So a lot of what you're going to want to do if you are working and at your desk or you're
Mhm.
student studying or anything
Yeah, those
is you're
random
going to want
strangers that
to
we don't know. Yeah.
those random people that you've heard of but you never would ever be like.
Yeah.
A big one's going to be making sure that you do these stretches into your shoulders, into your
Right.
upper back,
Mhm.
throughout your spine really, and also your hips, because a lot of people don't think about it. Like, yes, the worst part is your back, but your hips are gonna get tight from the way that you're sitting. So I mean, I know my camera doesn't show this, but like
Uh-huh.
when I sit, I do this. Hi, Sarah.
She
I
just
do these.
Sorry,
Did
did you
Stuck
you
a
not
little
she
giraffe
put a
under the
giraffe
desk.
behind you?
I miss it. All I saw was like her like taking off like a bat out of hell out of the
I was
chute.
just watching. I was
There.
listening so
Just enough to end
contently
up
and
here out
just
of the chair.
yeah, just a little hand.
Oh,
It's the other side. It's next to the bird.
oh, it's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I just saw a hand
Yeah.
cover behind the chair, and there's a giraffe and
It's-
everything.
And this is one of my favorite little plants that we put in here earlier.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
a serious conversation about what you should do about your spine and vertebrae compression as a tiny giraffe appears. We love it.
Because that's the way that life should be. Yes. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, no. Finishing it up, you do want to also think about your hips because the thing is a lot of people don't think about is if your hips get very tight, you're going to walk differently. And
Right.
what that is going to lead to is it's going to lead to problems throughout your legs, particularly in your feet. And in like a lot of times you'll see people get like pain going like shooting pains down their legs because they've lost that flexibility and there's pinched nerves and all these issues that happen from extended periods of sitting
Right.
and inactivity. So usually it's recommended that for every hour-ish that you're spending on a computer or watching TV or just anything that you're like sitting, that you take 5 minutes to do a few stretches. I mean, if you're sitting in a chair, you can do something as simple as a leg extension. So just like I know it's hard to demonstrate, but like if this is your leg, then you just extend it straight out. Like flex your feet, extend the feet straight out, and do like some ankle, like pointing, flexing,
Mhm.
ankle rolls, working into your quads, just bringing back some circulation into your lower limbs.
Right.
And obviously getting up, walking around, not just to go like get snacks or use the bathroom, but actually like moving and doing stuff to help bring back that circulation.
Right.
It is important for those people that you don't know. I mean, you've heard of,
Right.
but
People
you don't know.
yeah, this is just for chat to send to other people
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
this problem, but we're just double checking here. So getting up for a snack does not count as me stretching?
No, it really doesn't. I mean, it's part of it, but
Oh.
it's better than if you had like a mini fridge by the. You don't have a mini fridge, do you?
No, but I do
actually
have
had
I have a jar of peanut butter next. I mean, my friend My friend has a jar of peanut butter next to him for when he gets snacky.
Yeah, so you tell your friend there that he might need to put the peanut butter jar further away at least.
Right. Cause
So-
right.
Stuff.
So what you're saying is when I come over there tomorrow, I'm not going to see a jar of peanut butter on your desk.
No, of course not, because it's not me, it's somebody else. Anyway,
Okay.
let me just go over this way real fast.
So we can like hear in the background the little jar being slid under something, you know. I don't know.
Peanut butter.
But yes, and this
Peanut
is something
butter.
people will like kind of tease me a little bit sometimes in the way I sit because like I shift. Like I right now I have like one knee bent up and then my other foot is like tucked under my bum.
Right.
You know, I'll shift everything. I'll sit cross-legged in a seat. I'll have both feet on the ground. Like I move around, you know, every few minutes or so when I'm watching TV or when I'm talking, you know, on like doing work on the computer. And it's, you know, the whole idea of like not being sedentary.
Right.
And not just like letting
Right.
the blood pool in one area, you know. You got to kind of keep things flowing and moving and stuff like that. So, and it's something as simple as just taking a few minutes. Like I said, I'm making a video on this, so you know, I want to do all spoilers, but like, you know, doing some movements that will like help bring rotation back into your shoulders, your neck, like doing twisting your spine, doing side bends. Yeah, I'm just totally telling you what I'm going to be doing in this video.
And
It's
that's the end of that. You'll have to pay for the rest.
that was the little teaser, you know.
Yeah, you got a
little,
teaser.
I know.
Cosmic. It is. I'm passing it off to you. This is you're the leader now.
Frantic. Okay.
Well, first off, because Foxy joined in late and is asking for kind of like an intro for you. This is Mae Yoga or Miranda.
Yes.
She has been literally pretty much all over the world doing teaching English to in Japan, right? Was it?
Yeah, Thailand is where I started, but yes, I also did in Japan as well. So
she's also studied yoga with Tibetan monks, which blows my mind every time I hear it and every time it's said. Because that like we said earlier, that's literally the crazy ant from a movie. She's done a lot of other things. If you go back through this when we post this on YouTube, you will hear everything. But she has been all over the place. She's done a lot of crazy things. Not really crazy cool things. But
yes,
there's a basic intro. As I see scrolling on the ground.
Oh. Wow, this is beautiful. I like my interior decorator. My interior decorator is also wearing purple heart sunglasses, and those are the best.
Fashion.
Off she runs, you know. Yes, wow. So my new addition right here. It's very lovely. She's setting the mood. It's you know, we were like, well, how are we gonna make this like more yoga like? It's like plants, you know, because nature and stuff like that. And it was like, you know, we could have animals.
Nothing says yoga like crawling across the floor to put knickknacks on a table.
There you go. You know, she should like demonstrate Warrior 1 in the background.
Anyway, Cosmic. What you got?
Totally.
What you got going on?
So, when it comes to all the yoga experience that you've obviously accumulated over the years, has there ever been times like you found it like really hard to teach like a group of people or something with yoga because of, I don't know, inexperience, limitations, or just really anything? Is like a language barrier sometimes?
Oh, that's actually a really great one. So when I first moved to Denmark, I got in touch through some friends and everything with a motorcycle club. Because my dad, I always grew up on motorcycles anyway, and I feel very comfortable with that environment. Like, I like being around people with motorcycles. It's kind of a juxtaposition to the yogi thing, but it's, you know, it's what I love. And I actually, they did charity work with, it's this foundation in Denmark. It's basically for kids with cancer. and kids that are recovering from cancer. And so this particular motorcycle club would do like charity work for this organization. They would do like motorcycle runs where people would like donate money to be a part of the run. Kind of one of the coolest projects they also did was they would actually take the kids that had survived, like had gone through, and were strong enough to be on a motorcycle. They would take them for motorcycle rides, which I always just thought was like, every kid likes a motorcycle, it's like it's loud and it's fast and it's awesome, right? So I actually approached this club and I was like, you've got this big space, this big club. I could teach you yoga. And they were like, it was kind of funny because, like, obviously the females of the club were much more open to it, because, motorcycle men are like, I'm gonna do yoga. What's it all about? Like they're, I'm gonna drink my beer and like play my music. But it was fun because I did it as a karma yoga. So I actually was like, this is gonna be a complete volunteer teaching from me. All I ask is that if you come to my class, that you donate to the charity that the motorcycle club was affiliated with. So it was like a really like just a great experience as far as that, because I was like, yeah, I'm putting out some good karma in the world. But it was always kind of funny to like try to teach, because I did have some motorcycle guys actually be very daring and try to jump in, and to watch some bikers try to go into downward dog and like these very beautiful these graceful poses where you're like, you have to be like flowy to kind of go from one to the other. And you're watching these guys that are like, hardcore like bikers and with the tattoos and the long beard, and it was that they were dedicated. I will say that, like, if they tried, they went all in. But I had to really work with them. I'm like, don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself. I can see it right now that you're about to hurt yourself. Like, please let me take you out of that. We're not gonna do that, because you're gonna break yourself. But yeah, they were definitely like, and it was a fun experience for me because they weren't taking it very seriously, which is very different from like other groups of people that I taught that were like really like into the spiritual aspect of it and like getting in touch with their emotions. And then you had these bikers that were like cracking up over themselves. It was kind of like, I mean, it was a good experience for me as well, because I was like, I kind of learned to not be so serious all the time when I teach. I had to like start to kind of make jokes, and like I remember one time I was doing Baddha Konasana, which is butterfly pose. So when you're seated and the bottom of your feet are together, your knees are apart, and then your knees are open, and if you have the flexibility, you bend forward. So I did it. I did Baddha Konasana, had my feet together, and like bent forward, and I was flat on the ground because that's the way I can do that pose. That's where I'm at with it. But it was funny because I looked up, and all of these bikers were looking at me like, are you insane? I'm really sorry. And they were like, you think I can do that? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. But they were like just cracking up because they were like, man, that girl crazy thinking we can do that. So I mean, difficult in some ways because it challenged me as a teacher to kind of be a little bit like not take things so seriously. And not to feel like the pressure of I have to be this certain stereotype, I have to talk in a certain tone, and I have to, all the things that they kind of you think you need to do to be in that position. And then you come across a group of people that are not at all your normal students, and you have to kind of be more open to like rolling with it and laughing with them. And so that was, for me, that was probably like the biggest challenge. That, and I actually was teaching yoga in Japan when I was living there and working. I also got to teach yoga to kids. And the youngest student that I was teaching yoga to, which is insane, were 18-month-old babies.
Oh my God, what?
And, yeah, like
how do you teach yoga to a year? What?
I know. And it was crazy because like it was like a range of like 18 months up to like 7 years old.
What?
Kid is what I was teaching yoga to. And yeah, you'd see these babies come in.
Well, I was a daycare teacher, and I can't imagine. I could not fathom. I
Yeah.
can't. It was hard enough
Yeah.
getting a 2-year-old to hold the spoon the right way.
Exactly, right? So that was such a new experience for me because at up to that point I'd only taught like teenager to adult, like above,
Right.
older than teenager. So I
Mhm.
had only really related to, a student that could understand like how to sit still. Just that basic, thing of like this is how you sit, and then you come across these 18-month-olds who are like, they're little roly polies. Like you can't get them to hold still, and so it's all about making it fun. Like for me it was all about like animal imagery and
Mhm.
stories, and like we'd go on these journeys while doing yoga. So it was kind of, it was fun as a teacher. And I
Mhm.
would say like as far as challenges go, like in a very different way, teaching kids that young was a very big one.
Right.
It was awesome. So, and what's cool is that like I actually got a lot of feedback from the parents, and over the year that I was doing this, it was kind of cool to get that feedback from the parents, be like, these are the differences I've noticed in my child since they started practicing yoga. And I'm like, that is awesome, to get that sort of like acknowledgement and sort of like reaffirmation of what you think is possible, and then you can actually see it in a kid and you're like,
Mhm.
cool.
I
Anyway,
will I will say that when as me and Squiz have taken advantage of the fact that we know a yoga teacher, we've done some yoga at home. There is a level of like, obviously you should respect the craft and you should respect the person teaching you, but it's almost helps you relax more if you're comfortable enough to like laugh at some of the poses you're doing, because like we will obviously laugh about it. We will laugh about the fact that that
yeah.
Squiz cannot, her hips are stiff as a board.
Yes. She's like double jointed in some parts of the body. It's like bloop, bloop, but in other parts it's like this is as far as I go, like
She
robot kind of.
look, I don't want to crush her dreams, but she's never gonna be a Shakira.
God bless it. We need a belly dancer in our midst, man. I think that should be a like future podcast. Is
We'll
find a
get it.
belly dancer and
Honestly,
teach them
if there's
to
any belly dancers out
share.
there, please get in contact with
And
me
you
or
want to be on our
Cosmic.
show? Let us know.
Please.
Yes, I know. I'm like, man, I used to know someone I lived over in California, but that's been a while. So darn it. I was
um,
still out in Cali.
but God, yeah, just the
Well, it is.
ability to laugh at yourself is in that
Yeah,
situation. It really helps you enjoy it a lot
yeah.
more.
And what's funny is that like because I don't do streaming like you do, so it's like I always have that temptation of like, well, I can edit things out. I can stop the recording. I can go back and do it again, and there's the perfectionist part of me that's like, I have to be perfect, like da da da.
Mhm.
And then there's a part of me that's like, but that's not realistic. Like you
Mhm.
will see someone who has been, a gymnast for forever, and they get to the Olympics and then they mess up. So clearly,
Mhm.
like mistakes are a natural part of being a human. You can
Yeah.
practice for years something, and all it takes is one tiny little misstep, and like I have friends that are, professional like musicians,
Right.
and they will tell you like they will practice a piece thousands of times, but if they take the wrong breath, or if they get, like the breath gets caught in their throat, that entire composition is ruined for that time.
Yes.
So it's like it's something that we should remember, that it's not, we're not meant to be robots. We're not meant to be like
Mhm.
that like perfect. So I will make myself sometimes leave in the mistakes, and leave in it's so
Mhm.
tempting not to, because I'm like, I want to present myself like as this, like great guy, but I'm like at the same time like, but that's not real. That's not
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah.
So some of those bloopers are actually like I think pretty freaking funny. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, me and Cosmic have an entire clip section of our Twitch that can attest to nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like even when we're streaming, there's the tendency to try and just be the best that you can, like try to be perfect with
Yeah.
everything, but
But then,
it's impossible.
because then you get
Yeah.
so focused. There's a.
So fucking beat up. Wow, she like totally like like belly crawled, like military style, like, belly crawled in with this plate.
Wow, that is a big thing to crawl with too.
Jesus.
I know.
Wow,
It's a little scary. See, maybe you have been practicing the yoga.
that is
more
so
than I know.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, but
Aw.
I just posted a TikTok recently. You get so focused on trying to be so good, and I'm sure Cosmic has a moment too that maybe he could think of. But like you try and be so like, oh yeah, this is how you play the game. I'm playing the game. I'm having conversation with chat. I'm a professional streamer, and then somebody made a joke about Toad from Mario and asked me if he was a fun guy. And I was like, "Oh yeah, like you'd want to hang out with him at a party? That I guess so." And then like literally almost 30 seconds later, I was like, "Oh no. Oh, he's a mushroom, fun guy. Oh no."
I can attest
Totally
to
missed
that
it.
because of what happened last night when I was streaming Dead by Daylight, and what a certain someone here in this call brought up about one of the killers.
I needed to know. You know what? I'm gonna ask you right now. We have a guest. I'm gonna ask it. Hold on. Miranda, are you familiar?
I love how your voice totally changes to serious. Like,
Are
it's
you
awesome.
are you familiar with Michael Myers from Halloween? The murderer guy?
The mask,
Yeah, with the mask. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Would you say that he has a thick butt? You think he had a big booty?
Wow, that is by far the most unusual question I've heard in a while. And
These are
considering
the
the places I've lived, I'm
these
yeah.
are these are the questions I need answered, and I ask them often when Cosmic is streaming.
And I'm trying to be serious. I have
You're like, I'm all in this moment, you know. I'm in the moment, man. You totally knocked me
He
out.
really is. I think you were like trying to kill a
what?
bunch of survivors and just mid survivor.
Chase. It's just, does Michael Myers have a thickie?
I'm just gonna throw that, you know, I'm gonna like plant the seed for that weird thought, and you're gonna get stuck on it, you know, and anything else is just left by the wayside.
Well, but
yeah.
now the chat needs to know. Do you think Michael Myers has a thick butt? Do you think he had a thick butt?
I have to admit, I never once looked at Michael Myers' bum.
Wow.
I feel like I might have missed something out. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I love horror films too, which is
Wow.
hilarious. But I've never looked at his
You can
arse.
travel the world and you can learn yoga and you can teach English and you can just get a science degree. But you can't tell me if Michael Myers has a thickie. Interview over.
Done. This relationship is done. Yeah, I'm sorry. But now that I know, now that you've planted that seed in my mind, I'm gonna have to go watch the
Wow.
Halloween movies now
Wow.
and specifically look for some ass sightings. It's gonna be great. So anyway, sorry. I didn't even think about it. I've been cursed a couple of times, haven't I? I'm sorry.
How
You're
fucking
fine.
dare you?
Oh God damn it! Sorry. Okay, I was like, oh, wait, am I not supposed to be cursing?
You cannot say curse words on this podcast where I ask if Michael Myers has a thick ass. You can't say that.
Yeah, I totally didn't catch that part. I was like, did he say thick ass? Yeah, it's
We are an 18
Ludo.
plus channel, 18 plus podcast. You're completely fine.
Every time YouTube is like, is this for kids? And I have to say no, I just want to be like, will you stop
No.
asking? Will you please stop asking?
Yeah, they asked me that on my videos too, and I'm like, you know, wow, like I mean, and now, one day I do want to do some kids yoga. So hey, maybe that's a good thing for me, my channel anyway.
That one
but, like,
video. That one video.
one video, I'm gonna have it's appropriate for children, you know. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't think any of my stuff is really inappropriate, just because it's like exercise. Like what child is going to be offended?
Ludo.
You know.
Come here.
I'll be right back in just a second.
You know,
Yes.
so I will say this has probably been the most serious podcast we've had. All the other podcasts are like, so if you well, you know what? Here we go. I'll ask you a question that I ask often. Here we go. You're on an island. You're stranded. No arms, no legs. They're gone. You don't have them anymore. You're looking up. It's raining. Sky is cloudy. What's your favorite color?
Oh my god. This is a horrible scene you've planted in my head right now. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, blue green,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that generally is
Oh, Rez would also
Yep.
like to know, have you ever gotten stuck in a pose?
um, yes, I have, and it's kind of a funny story because so I was in Thailand. I was in Thailand, and I might have been up all night partying at a place and dancing. There might have been some body paint involved. There might have been some substances ingested that were not supposed to
Oh,
be
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
ingested.
Sorry, chat. I
Anyway,
forgot to mention. She has been talking as if she is the most professional. She will answer any of your questions professionally. I know the
yes.
truth.
Because a lot of my stories are so weird. I'm like, yeah, I was in this like random island temple. Anyway, but yes, I had been up all night with some friends, and we had been partying, and we went decided at the sunrise that we wanted to go climbing up this like rock mountain. Keep in mind, we're like, this is Thailand. We were in like flip flops and like dresses, like sun. Yeah. So I'm like, I can do this. I'm a yoga person. I got this. So I
You know how
actually
every
was
story should not start.
right. So I actually made it up to the, all these big like boulders, rocks that you have to kind of scale. And I made it up to the top of this thing. And I was like, I'm feeling like really good and loose, and like, oh, everything's great. And so I'm like, I'm going to go into this like awesome bind. And it's like like double padmasana, like a full padmasana where your legs are crossed and your feet are tucked up around the hips, and then you go into this like arm bind. I felt really good going into it, and keep in mind this is like the sun's coming up over the ocean. It's all beautiful. I'm like, I'm gonna stay in this pose and meditate for a minute. Like, oh, I'm feeling so spiritually connected to the universe, right? Um, yeah, I stayed.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh, we got a connection issue. Hold on.
Uh-oh. It froze.
Give it a
Discord
second.
Oh,
There it goes. There. Oh,
There. Hello?
uh,
ah.
Oh,
This.
hello.
Oh,
there goes-
Discord had an
Discord
issue.
had a-
Okay, go ahead.
Discord had a hiccup.
So,
everybody.
so the sun was rising. You were that lady
Yes.
from early morning yoga on TV.
What's funny is the Discord froze right when I was talking about being frozen in the pose. Kind of weird.
Oh, well,
Anyway, but yes, I apparently I sat in this leg and arm bind a little too long, and I guess my body was like, "You should have been in bed like 8 hours ago, and I'm going to punish you now," or 9 or 10 hours, whatever. The
Right.
sun was up, and so I go to move, go to move, and I just couldn't. And I was like, well, shit. What do I do? Am I supposed to like just tuck and roll down the mountain like, like a little like, tumbleweed or whatever, like cannonball? And luckily I did have a friend, was a Turkish guy named Aykut, and he managed to help me kind of unlike pretzel myself. And I felt really embarrassed actually having to ask a guy to like unbind me because I'm this like badass yoga teacher. I need some help, please. And the worst part was that actually coming down off of that mountain, I slipped and fell and twisted my ankle and had to go to the hospital. So my advice is maybe don't go climbing up mountains in flip-flops after dancing and partying all night.
Good advice.
Life lesson
I
there.
can also second that, as in I broke my foot climbing on a slippery mountain after it rained, and yeah.
Yeah.
Not fun.
I
It's
didn't
not
do
fun.
that because I don't go outside.
You're like, this is like nature stuff. I don't know.
I
Outdoorsy.
I mow the yard sometimes.
Mm, you do. You do. I do
Yeah.
know this. I can attest to that. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I have a question in my chat from Foxy. This was asked a little bit ago and it got swarmed out. I'm sorry, Foxy.
Ooh, no.
Um, if you could give someone else a minor superpower, who would you give what power and
Ooh.
why?
Oh, this was that question
Ooh.
from that one. Okay, so it's very. You
Ooh.
got to take the context here. It's a minor
Okay.
superpower.
Yeah, not anything like really big and major, like you're invincible,
Not
whatever, and
me,
all that. It's just
not
some
Hermione,
random
you.
minor thing that is like, God, what did I give
I
you as
gave
an example?
Cosmic the ability to instantly get anything from like a superstore like Walmart or whatever, but he still has
Mhm.
to pay for it.
Okay.
It'll like instantly appear in like my hands or whatever, but I still have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I'll say this, so it would be like stealing. So that's actually a nice little caveat.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like the one I gave, the one I gave him is he can, he can instantly cook or bake whatever he wanted, but he has to do a really stupid Fortnite dance before it.
Ooh.
Wait! Oh my God! Hold on. So, quick side tangent. I still need the answer to this question. I forgot.
Okay,
I
go.
forgot this talent. Miranda can
You
floss.
forgot it? I
What?
can't. I can. And what's great is that I only learned it because, like Sarah was trying to, and then I was like, "What are you doing?" And she showed it to me like slow motion, and I was like, "Okay." And I did it. She was like, "I hate you," and I was like, "I'm sorry." Like I don't.
So what you're saying is, when I come tomorrow, I need to do it in front of Sarah.
Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of Sarah.
She is, there she is. sprawled on the ground.
Ooh. What
Can
does she have this time?
hey, to ask Sarah if she could give us a little floss, please.
Hey,
Please.
Sarah. Oh, giraffe. Sarah, do you want to demonstrate what a floss is like? You do some
No.
flossing. Yeah. But it's so beautiful.
No. I love that
No.
this is all we see. Just no.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
God.
like a little like those animals, the lemurs that just kind of pop up. Yeah, that's what you remind me of. Just
You should give her the minor
okay.
superpower to floss.
That would be a good superpower, the ability to pick up any dance step very quickly. There it is. There you are.
Beautiful.
You
Look at
see her
that
little-
giraffe.
oh,
Look
There
at
she goes.
that beautiful giraffe.
beautiful.
She can
Look at-
crawl.
Aw.
She can bring in a giraffe, but she cannot floss, chat.
No, it looks like the giraffe is hungry, like he's about to like devour the plant. So he's not a carnivore. I'm safe. I'm safe.
Okay.
So the magic power, I guess. Wow, that is a good question. I mean, on a serious note, I can throw out something serious here.
Mhm,
On
mhm.
a serious note,
Don't look at me.
don't look at me. Look away. Oh gosh, I would say that probably the ability to reverse time just 5 to 10 seconds. Because it's
I'd
not
say
like
yeah.
something, like not something that would be like a life altering, like, but everybody can think of probably multiple times in their lives. I know I can, where I've just said the wrong thing,
Oh
or I've
my
handled a
God.
situation in a way that isn't the best, like, and
Mhm.
if I could just take back like 5 or 10 seconds
Yeah.
and just go like, just can we have another take, like like when I did theater, and I'd be like, oh no, we need to take from the top again, like just something like that.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times, especially for me, like I do have Scottish and Irish blood, and sometimes my temper gets the best of me. It's not as bad as it used to be, thank you, yoga, that's another benefit right there. But I would say things very angrily when I was younger, and I would instantly be like, why did I say that? Like I didn't need to
Mhm.
say that. That was hurtful. And I was angry, or I was upset, or I was hurt, and I reacted badly. And if I could just go back 10 seconds and
Mhm.
and do better, then I could have prevented, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
But
As
I mean,
people who stream live on the internet for people to watch all the time, I can't relate. I've never had that happen to me.
I know. I mean, it happens like in day-to-day interactions. Like I actually was getting coffee earlier, and one of the baristas was leaving, and it was just kind of funny because I've done these things before. He's leaving, he turns to looks over his shoulder at the other barista, and is like, "Have a good rest of your shift." Like he's leaving, and she goes, "You too." And I could just see on her face she was instantly like, "You idiot!" And I just wanted to
Every
be like,
time.
I've done this. It's okay. You know,
Mhm.
like so many times people be like, I'll be like, have a good night, you too. That's a normal thing, but like, be like, thanks for shopping with us. No, thank you. I'm like, just things you say and
You
you're
too.
like, that was awkward. That was very awkward. So,
I did that
yeah.
earlier. I literally did that earlier. We were at Walmart doing groceries. We were leaving, and then there got like the one attendant that's at the door, like, "Thank you for choosing Walmart." And I'm just like, "You too." And I'm like, "Oops."
It's like, I didn't choose this. I'm
Ah.
put here,
Yes, I can never return here ever again.
I was just like, "Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go."
I know. They
But,
know me here, yes. Yeah, there's actually I'm sad that Daniel is not here to affirm the story because it's actually a Japan story that he was
Res.
there for me for. So there's these two Japanese words and one of them means you're full, like after a dinner and you're saying like, I think it's like God, it's been years, I'm sorry. I think it's like ipai. And then uh there's a word that's very close to it, which is basically talks about like it's a word for large breast. And I was at this restaurant that I went to all the time. Like this is one of my favorite sushi places. It was right down the street from my apartment, and I was just starting to like feel like I could maybe speak a little bit of Japanese, which is not something I should have ever tried. I know this cuz I suck at it apparently. And Daniel was with me, and this very lovely server that was taking care of me, that had taken care of me many times before, comes up and she's like, gesturing like towards the food. And I meant to say like, like I'm full, but instead I said the other word several times. And she looked at me with this very confused look and like, because I was basically being like, big tits. But and the worst part is that because I didn't think she heard me, I said it louder because it was a busy. Oh, it was awful. All these people are looking at me, and I'm like, "Why is it weird that I'm saying I'm full?" And Daniel,
Oh
he claims
no.
he didn't know, but I think he knew. I think he totally knew.
So anyway, I
Yeah.
gotta go. I gotta
Yeah. And I mean,
go.
and I felt so like, because you can't explain those things. I can't like go back and be like, actually, what I meant to say was this. No, you just pretend that it never happened, and you just hope
Yeah.
that they don't bring it
Yeah.
up ever.
You know
Right.
what's really funny about
Yeah.
that? I used to work at a sushi restaurant, and the owner is Japanese. His dad was from Japan. He would come over and visit every now and then just to see how the business is
Nice.
going. I
Mhm.
was a server, serving him. I knew very little Japanese at the time, just enough to like, interact with him and like take his order and all that.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Literally means tits.
I, I,
You found it. Oh
Sorry,
man.
sorry.
You
The
should
word
tell me.
tits in
Yeah.
my chat. So sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Sorry. That's it.
I know exactly how you feel because I did that to him. I was like, "How you full?" Asking that, and no, I just said, "Oh, pie." To him. No, and I'm just staring.
Yeah.
I'm staring at him. He's staring at this really weird look. And my boss pulls me aside, like, "You know what you said?" I'm like, "No, I really don't." I don't
I
know why.
wouldn't have said it.
I like the
Yeah.
mentality of just say it with confidence.
I just
Yeah.
love that he chose me out of everyone to serve for his dad. Like I'm the one that knew the least amount of Japanese in the building.
Just say it with confidence.
They threw you
No.
under the bus,
Yeah, a
just
little
admit
bit.
it.
Just like
Yeah.
when the kids at work look at Sarah and they go, "Bet." And she goes, "Ah, yes. Bet indeed."
Yeah.
Say it with confidence. It's all right.
Ah,
Oh my
yes. Bet.
Okay, Foxy also has another question
Ooh.
Yes.
for you.
Yes. Foxy.
Let me scroll up because it's a half on the screen. Is there any yoga poses you could do? Oh god, this goes back to Alice's no arms, no legs island thing.
Oh, got it.
Is there any yoga poses you could do with no arms and legs? But wait, how do you what? But you're by yourself if you're face down and alone on an island laying down.
Good question.
Oh.
Very good question. The
Oh.
world needs to know.
Oh God. I mean, honestly, I would love to be like anybody can do, but that's you could try to do like some back bend, but you need a stabilizer. Oh, the image. Oh god.
Don't worry, the image just hit my head too.
Yeah.
It's
I
beautiful.
mean,
Foxy,
Yoga's
like,
for everyone.
Foxy would be the one to bring in the cursed.
Yoga's
cursed
for
images.
everyone.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So I would say, like, if you had a thing to, brace yourself against at the bottom end.
We're going to a
Now,
tree.
does that change your favorite color?
No, it's still blue green.
Damn. Damn.
Sorry.
Damn.
Yeah, if you could see like a lot of the clothing I like to wear and stuff like that. I do a lot of like blue and green. It's nature stuff. I'm a hippie. I'm a tree
Yeah.
hugger.
Yeah.
There are, thinking of the photo thing, there's a lot of pictures of me hugging trees, like
Yeah.
literally going
You're-
out into the woods and just
You are
hugging
a
trees.
literal tree hugger.
really am. And like, I mean, it makes my guy laugh, like, because he's just like, you actually don't like, you take that seriously, and I'm like, you make fun of it, but there is, and being my all spiritual self here, there is a connection of us to everything around us, and that includes the planet, that includes the animals. We are all part of the same source. And
Yeah.
I don't put a name on it. I'm not a religious person, but I am a spiritual person.
Right.
So, in that way, when I hug the tree, I am hugging an extension of myself. So, anyway,
I agree
super
with you there.
cheesy.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know it's very like kind of that weird. When you get into spiritual stuff, and it's kind of funny. Like as a yoga teacher, I have to be careful because you don't know what students are coming in. You don't know if you're going to have someone that is maybe going to be offended if they feel like you're making a practice religious. So you always have to kind of like tread those waters lightly, and not make someone feel like they are not allowed to join in. So unlike this very large plant that can join in at any time, and I want to hug it, it's very. I
Well-
feel like you're making like a jungle. I love it.
While this random plant is being pushed into the screen and coming on a screen, Foxy asked another question that I actually wanted to ask you earlier, so this works. Squiz.
Is the question why is Squiz here?
No, the question is because throughout all of your time with yoga and teaching it,
Yeah.
have you ever witnessed anyone dislocate a joint, arm, leg, elbow, wrist, anything from overexerting the pose or overcommitting into it?
Not. Oh wait. Like my
I
Elton
would,
John, like,
I would very much like to dislocate a Squiz. Right out a window.
Wrong.
Right out a
Wrong.
window. I'm throwing her,
Oh,
chucking
man.
her.
I will say probably the worst injury, and I don't know if it was an actual dislocation, was sadly enough in my teacher training, one of my teacher training courses that I was in, and we were practicing headstand, which is a difficult pose, and like it's something that like you build up to. And what's funny about doing a headstand is it's actually a lot of core strength. So it's not so much your arms and the strength of like your neck and upper shoulders. It's actually a lot of like being able to stabilize your whole body with your core. So I did witness, and it's painful to even remember it because it was like you heard the pop and you saw this person kind of crumble and I was friends with, and we were practicing headstand, and it was very hot that day, and I think that he was just like, he was probably dehydrated and he just lost his focus. It was a pose he'd done before, but I think he was in it and the blood rushed to his head and he just sort of crumpled, and we heard it was his like neck that twisted, and when he tried to catch himself, his shoulder popped, and he just ended up like he had to drop out of the course. And
Yikes.
don't really, because he really did mess up. So I mean, that's a word of caution. Like you can't. It doesn't matter if you've done that pose, if you've done a certain routine or a certain pose, or 1,000 times before, like marathon runners. You'll see
Mhm.
marathon runners who have been training forever collapse in the middle of a race, and you know that they've been training, you know that they've done this. But it's one of those things. It's like if you are not feeling confident enough to do something, don't don't push yourself
Well,
because even if like physically
mhm,
you're okay to do it, if you have that doubt, like don't push yourself to the point of injury. Push
mhm,
yourself in like challenging. There's a difference in like maybe I'll try to work into a pose, but if you're feeling like this isn't right for me, don't do it.
yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
It
and
goes back
it's
to something that you've said before, and you say a lot when we do yoga, which is listen to your body. Your body will tell
Yes,
you if you shouldn't be doing that.
exactly.
that is
And
yes.
yeah,
Always
and
listen to your body.
Mhm,
always do. And then that's in like the truth of like anything in life, like that intuition that you have.
mhm,
I've been at situations and parties and stuff where I'm like, this is not a good place for me. And like maybe I was having fun like an hour ago, but the
right.
the mood has changed, the energy's changed, and I'm like, I don't feel like I should be here. And
Mhm,
I will listen to that inner voice. And
yeah.
I've managed to like get out of some situations that later on I found were like not good because I listened to that voice. Like
Yeah.
I've had friends that be like, "Man, it's a
Mhm.
good thing you left that party because the cops showed up and there was cocaine." And I'm like, "Huh, hey, look at that." So hey, I managed to stay out
Yeah.
of jail. Awesome.
Honestly, good time.
Um,
Not going to jail? Good time.
yeah, that's good time. Thank you, intuition. But like things like that's an extreme case, but like those little inner voices that's like, you know what? I'm
Mhm.
I'm not feeling connected to my body. Like I'm not very like aware and like I don't feel a great amount of strength right now. So I'm not going to try to do this crazy inversion pose.
Right.
And inversions are particularly they are very confidence boosting, so they're very tempting to do because you're
Mhm.
literally like the world's upside down and look at me do this. I can like balance my body on my hands. It's awesome. But if you're not feeling like going into a pose, if you're having doubt, do it. If you insist on doing it, do it with like a spotter or do it against the wall or do
Mhm.
something where like there's cushions or there's you're giving yourself a little bit of like a safety net.
Right.
And that's like some poses, it's hard to build like like to have that safety net really, like you can still injure yourself. But the lovely thing about yoga is that there are variations for everything. So you build up to like let's say for shoulder stand, or not shoulder stand, a headstand. You practice with dolphin pose for a while. You build up that strength into your shoulders, that feeling of stability. You do it against a wall. You have the pillows. You have these steps to take that will help you prevent injury, kind of stuff. But
I
yeah,
swallowed
because
wrong. I'm
I
gonna
will.
die.
I don't die, please. But yeah, I will never forget, unfortunately, that moment of hearing that pop and looking like peripherally, like where it come from, and like looking over and seeing someone that was a strong, athletic human kind of crumple. And yeah, so that's like a big cautionary tale for me. Like every time I sort of start to like, I'm gonna try this new thing, I'll be like, but do I know enough? Have I prepared enough? Am I ready to take that leap? But
Mhm.
kind of thing. So, um, and yeah, being all philosophical, that's kind of how it is with life. Like that. I love the image of like leap and the net will appear, but that's sort of like a good and a bad. Like you want to have faith that the world will supply for you, but you also need to prepare for things, right? Like,
Mhm.
yes, I moved to Thailand without having any friends or family there, but I also had a backup plan in case it didn't work out.
Mhm.
It's like, well, I'm going to give it 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, then I can do this instead.
Mhm.
So that's like you go in and you have fun and you do crazy things, but you also have a plan B.
Right.
Exactly.
It's
That's
important
that's sort of
to
where I stand with it.
it's important to have a healthy amount of prepared. Like
Yes.
you have to like experience new things, but make sure that when you experience those things, there's a safety net for you that you made yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's not like it's not to make you afraid to try new things. Like some people are like, well, again with when I moved to California, like I lived in Georgia. I'd lived in the South, in South Carolina, Georgia, my whole life. And when I was 27, I decided I
Yes,
wanted to
Rez.
do something different. So
Yes,
that
Rez.
was only a couple years ago.
Yeah. Sorry, Rez has made a good point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always have a plan to get.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a good
we
one.
are
Yes.
in the last 15 minutes
Oh
of
no.
our
Oh, that's right.
podcast, everyone.
Oh my god.
So if you have any last minute questions, drop them in chat, either in my stream, obviously, or in Atlas's.
Mhm. I have a quick
And-
question before we get to the ones we already asked. Are you ready for this? This is a cosmic question.
Ooh.
And it's also for you too. So Cosmic comes to visit me every once in a while, okay? So say that one time Cosmic comes to visit me and you just happen to be in the neighborhood, Miranda. And we happen to
Yes.
do, I don't know, some yoga. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Would you be interested in doing a yoga session with me and Cosmic and then coming back sometime to talk about that with us?
Hell yeah. Of course.
Cosmic, how do you feel
Yes.
about that? That would be pretty interesting, I think.
I have been wanting to do yoga again for a very long time. Last time I did it was with, ironically, my aunt, who was a yoga teacher.
I feel like am I missing out on like did
Like, I know. I'm like, I want to meet this person now. Like,
Sad.
hey, we have something in commom.
Sadly, you can't.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to do yoga again. Absolutely.
Uh-huh. I just think that would be a cool experience to kind of like, do a class, do a session, and then do this again and just kind of talk about the shared experience.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would
down
love to
for
do
it.
that.
Now we get to ask the very important, very serious questions that we ask every podcast. Super important, very serious.
Okay.
Cosmic, would you like to start with the super important, serious questions?
Oh, you mean our usual super important serious questions?
Yeah, the ones we ask every time that are super important, very serious.
So, mine
World
has to change for
issues.
this time, but what would be your top 5 TV shows?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Top 5 TV shows. Okay. Well, I'm rewatching one of them right now just because I do love the humor of it. Castle. I like a lot of these shows that are like have this funny like crime solving, but kind of like there's humor and romance because I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of cheesy like that apparently. So I love Castle. I love Bones because the science they actually delve into the science of it all and the anatomy, and it's kind of cool to learn new things
Mhm.
like that. Um, oh gosh. I mean, for pure entertainment value, Game of Thrones is amazing. It's brutal as hell, but it's one of those shows that you watch and like I end up screaming and I don't even realize I'm yelling sometimes until, like my neighbors start banging on the wall. Like when I was living in Copenhagen, I'd be like, why are you banging on the wall? And Daniel's like, Miranda, you're yelling, like, fucking Joffrey. Anyway, so for that, that's always a great show. Sherlock, the British. I mean, the what did they did the American one too.
You're talking about with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. So yeah, like that one. Like
Weird that you say that. His name will come
BBC.
up again in a little bit.
Oh, feel it now.
His name will come
I
up
love
again
it.
in a little bit.
Oh gosh, and then 5. Really can't. I mean, if I'm just thinking about like pure kind of cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
but something that's like you can put on and not really pay a lot of attention to.
Yes. The Golden Girls for me.
It's I do. Oh, see, I do love the Golden Girls now. Dang it. I was gonna say it's kind of a toss up between like Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother.
Ooh, How I
those
Met Your
are both
Mother
just-
was good.
Yeah,
Very
they
good.
just have some kind of like interesting characters, but Big Bang Theory, obviously, there's the science. I'm a science nerd.
Right.
I realized that and I was saying these TV shows, and I'm like, it's a lot of science.
Well,
in
you
there,
did
but-
apparently. You did graduate with a degree, so
I
that checks
did.
out.
It kinda makes
Yes.
a little bit of sense.
Yeah, that does
I
check
do
out.
love biology.
It's funny how
And
things
it's
circle around like that.
yeah, and it's kind of cool to actually bring in
Mm-hmm.
science into yoga a little bit more too, as well. So it's not, It is
Mhm.
it is a very ancient philosophy of exercise, but there is a lot of
Right.
like science and anatomy that goes into it too.
Right.
So
Mhm.
anyway,
Uh,
sorry.
so
Golden Girls though, man.
it's a good show. It's a great show. Thanks, Husky. It's a great show.
It's
Great show.
It's a great show.
fantastic.
It's
a great show.
timeless. And Designing Women, I don't know if anybody ever watched that, but my grandma loved Designing Women,
Mhm.
all about these Southern belles that were very sassy. And it's
I
it's like
just
Golden Girls, but like younger.
I love any show that's like just powerful women being powerful women without needing anything extra.
Hmm.
Awesome.
It's time for the second question. Very important question. This is where Benedict Cumberbatch is going to return. Um, who alive or dead, anybody of your choosing throughout history, would you most like to throw cold spaghetti at? Now, this can be a good thing
Oh.
or a bad thing.
I'm about to say, I mean, maybe they're hungry.
Well, I picked Squizzle because I thought that she would just have a really good time with some cold spaghetti.
Like, I'd jump up and catch it, you know.
A Cosmic, who was it that you picked, Cosmic?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, dude, what was your reasoning for that?
It'd be funny, and I know he'd have a good time too.
That's true.
But we've had,
mean,
we've had the stereotypical "he who shall not be named" terrible president. We've had,
he who should not be named terrible German man.
yeah,
Yes. Ooh, okay. Yes. The tangerine tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
That guy. Yes.
yes, yeah.
It's my little name for him. If anyone ever needed to know my political leanings. Okay. So I guess, I mean, actually, like I was thinking about a leader that I think it would be funny to do it because I think he'd
Mhm.
totally roll with it, would be Justin Trudeau. And maybe I'm a little
Oh.
bit like girl crushing on him because he does yoga and like he actually is a really good yoga guy. Like there's this fantastic like footage of him doing peacock pose, which is actually a very advanced pose, off of the table in the cabinet. Like he just busted out yoga in the middle of the cabinet. Okay, yeah. So I might have a small crush on him, but I actually
Mhm.
think he would like enjoy it. Like I think he would laugh at it and like probably share his spaghetti with other people because he seems like that kind of guy.
Mhm.
So, and you know, if he needed to be cleaned up after, well, my guy's in Denmark, he's in bed, so it's. I mean,
Anyway, this will be
would-
up on YouTube later.
Oh man! Remember that magic thing about reversing 10 seconds?
There it is.
Yeah.
Wow, we just found
My
it.
superpower. Where's my superpower, man? I need my
Mm.
superpower. No, I would point him to the showers. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that I
Sorry.
believe you. I believe you.
Totally.
Wait, hold
Thank
on. Side question. Justin Trudeau. Vicky?
Mhm.
Them
It's
buns?
just a yes.
Okay. Enough said.
Totally have a girl like a mad crush. on her anyway.
Enough said. Enough said. Husky said as a Canadian he would love to see that.
Yes, right. I mean, it was okay. Thank you. It's not just me.
Ludo, I'm so
and
sorry.
Robin, I just saw Robin Williams. You're right. No, Robin
Thicky?
Williams would have rolled
Mhm.
with
Oh,
it.
As in a
Robin
thick butt.
Williams would make it like
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
that would have been fantastic.
You know, I ask this question
Aw.
every time. Cosmic, would you like to ask the question this time?
Oh, I get to ask the question.
You
this
get to
time?
ask the question.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this because Atlas
Uh-huh.
has nailed
Mhm.
this to a
I
T.
rehearse it.
Anyway, chat. If you would have to give our guest Miranda Mae Yoga a vibe name,
Mhm,
what would
mhm.
that vibe name be?
What do you think that vibe name would be?
God, vibe name.
Now,
Oh,
now the way
As
we.
usual.
Mhm. No, go ahead. Go ahead. This is your show now. Go ahead.
As usual, we will hold polls on both streams for this.
Mhm.
If you would like to have your name answered into the poll, just put it in chat. And then when we fill up, if we have more than 5 names, our guest here can. What?
Oh, a sign. Ooh, advertisement.
Aw.
Ooh.
See that promotion thing. I gotta have a manager do this for me. Clearly, yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah. So okay, vibe name. That's a good one.
Chat,
Good
what do we
question.
got
If-
thinking here?
If we get more than 5 names, you do have the power to swap up to 2 names with a different name that's in the list that we
Yep.
haven't added.
Yep.
So we got Genevieve,
The
Serenity-
yoga yogi? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yogi.
Yeah,
The
the yoga
yogi-
yogi.
Yogi Bear.
What did somebody in your chat have one?
Genevieve and Serenity.
How did they
Ooh.
spell Genevieve?
Genevieve.
That is the exact spelling of my best friend when I was growing up, Genevieve Dion.
That's
Sorry,
how my
G
cousin is
E.
spelled as well.
It's G E what?
Genevieve.
Uh-huh. Okay. And the other one was Serenity?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
pointing out that part of my nature, and not the body painting, climbing rocks
Uh,
at sunrise. That's what, you
Squiz
know.
Squiz said Patricia and Rez said Gumbly?
Mythos also just popped in. Mythos
Oh.
just popped in and added Minerva.
Minerva. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I think the 2 that Squiz and Rez put in your stream were came up first. So then Minerva is one you could possibly swap with.
Yeah, so if there's one of these names you don't enjoy, you can swap with Minerva.
So yeah, so you
Ooh.
have Minerva as one you could swap with.
Okay, can I swap out Patricia? Just because
But-
Patricia is
Patricia!
like my aunt's name. But I loved my Aunt Pat, but like, you know, it was always that's her name. Weird. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
you know.
Is
Okay,
it
so we're swapping out
Minerva?
Patricia with Minerva.
How did they spell Minerva?
Minerva.
That's a cool name.
Okay.
I sound
Uh,
very magical.
It is very. It does sound. I'm so sorry about your name, though, Squiz. No more Patricia.
Does
Oh,
anyone
that
else
was
have-
Sarah picked
That
Sorry,
was-
Squizzle.
Does anyone else have any more names? Because we have.
I
one
like
more
that.
swap we can use.
You know what I like? I like that instead of swapping out Gombly or Gumbly, you swapped out Patricia.
Yeah.
It's so you know like
Mm,
normal.
yeah.
I don't know.
Just so you know, I am visiting tomorrow, and if I see you, whatever name this picked, this is what I'm gonna say when I first see you.
If you do, yeah, he is gonna. He's visiting tomorrow, so you know he will use this name when
Yes.
referring to you.
Yes. So
Yes.
whatever name chat ends
Nice.
up voting for, expect it tomorrow from me.
Are we ready to post the poll?
I think we are. I don't see
Okay.
any more names on my side. Do you have
Remember
any
the
on yours?
rules, chat. No, there's no more on this side.
Okay.
Remember the
Okay.
rules. You cannot vote for the name you yourself submitted.
And if we have a tie with one between 2 names, 3 names, however many it is, we will do another poll with just the names that tied.
Mhm. I'm gonna start my poll. Are you ready to
So
start
you
your poll?
have starting in 3, 2, 1. So again, everyone, there's a minute on this poll.
Mhm.
Vote for the name that you would like to vote for the vibe name. Again, do not vote for a name that you put in chat.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we will combine the numbers together for both streams,
Mhm.
and that will be the vibe name.
Now, Miranda, how do you feel about getting your vibe name? This is a big moment for you.
This is a very big moment for me. I do. I feel like I have no
Mhm.
idea what to expect.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you know, I
Yeah.
like the choices. You know,
Right.
there were some interesting
Okay.
varieties. So.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
this is a big deal for a lot of people getting a vibe name. This
I
is a
know.
big deal.
I've
Would
never
you
had
like
one
to-
before.
Would you like to tell her our vibe name?
Like, what are yours? Yeah, yeah.
wasn't my vibe name Andy?
Yes, you're Andy.
I'm Andy. What's your vibe name?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Staff Sergeant what?
No, it is just androphenine. It is just androphenine now.
It used to be Staff Sergeant Max Fightmaster.
Nice. Oh my gosh,
Anyway,
I love
the
it.
poll is done.
Oh, I got a
What do you have
tie
on your
over
end?
here. I got a tie over
do you
here.
have?
I got a tie between Serenity and Minerva.
How many
Ooh.
votes are on each?
2 for each.
Well, it is unanimous over here, pretty
Oh,
much.
oh.
So the Vive name for our guest is Minerva.
Oh, Minerva. It's
I
so nice to
like
have you.
it.
Oh, it's so
Thank
nice.
you.
Across both streams, everyone was voting
Yes.
between Minerva and Serenity, except whoever voted for Gombly on your end.
You know, it's
Either
it's a
one.
mystery
Awesome.
that'll just die with us, I'm sure.
Gombly, it's like a take on Gumby.
Yeah,
Yoga.
yeah.
That's
We'll
why I
never
was
know.
sticking with it too.
You know, we'll never know
I
who
can see it.
voted
I
for
can see
that.
it.
We'll
Well,
never know.
I have to say, Minerva has this sort of like magical, ethereal kind of feel to it. So I'm totally digging that.
Yeah,
I
there
love
it
it.
is. There it
I was
is.
sitting here voting like either Minerva or Serenity, please win, because both of those are perfect.
Got it. Yeah.
No, man.
Um,
I love it.
Look, I can't break the poll confidentiality, but I will say, I'm a little upset personally that Gombly didn't win. Not that I voted for Gombly.
Just I've heard of other people. It's not me.
Not me.
Those-
No. What?
Those other people that sit at desk and do computer stuff. You know, those people.
Yeah.
yes.
But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
It has
Thank
been
you.
definitely more of a calm podcast compared to our other ones.
Also, way more knowledge that was shared. I think I
Mhm.
actually learned things.
Yes. I haven't, lost a brain cell. in
Yeah.
our
And
podcast.
normally we end these podcasts with less knowledge. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
no, thank you both of you for hosting, for inviting me to be part of this, because it's probably the most fun I've had talking about yoga in a while. Like, usually it's like a very serious thing. People are asking about they have this injury and they want to, and it's a very
Mhm.
serious, like it's someone's health. So this was definitely a more lighthearted
Mhm.
discussion of yoga and experiences.
Mhm.
So thank you for having me. This was
And-
awesome.
And just
Of course.
before the podcast ends, could you share with everybody one more time where they can find you?
Would you like to use that lovely sign behind
Would
you
you?
as
Wow,
well?
look at that! Oh my God, there's a sign.
Wow.
What? I didn't even know that.
I
Oh
know,
my
it's
God.
clearly the social manager I hired to create my sign spent many hours over this. Yes, so I'm on YouTube. I have a channel called Mae Yoga, MAE Yoga.
Link
And
in
on
chat.
it you will find, yes, on it you'll find like practices for beginners, more advanced. I also have a few of that are like travel vlogs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So there's some like not serious stuff on there as well, but it is mostly yoga. And I'm on Facebook, same name,
Mm-hmm.
Mae Yoga on
Yeah.
Facebook. If you have any questions, if you want to message me at any time, you can reach me through that, as well as on Instagram. But I don't follow. I don't do much Instagram. I'm the worst Instagrammer ever. But yes, my channel, my YouTube channel, I try to do at least a couple of videos a month. There's 80, if I'm remembering correctly, 80 videos up there now, and I will continue to create more. And hopefully, I will be going to do some more teacher training in Nepal if it works out. And I will be able to bring some more content, new knowledge and everything as well to that. So.
Very
Yeah.
experienced.
That's my promotion. Oh,
Yeah, very experienced yoga teacher.
Yes.
Go ask her any questions. I do often.
I love them. And I'll be totally honest. If I am not 100% sure, I will say, I will admit that. Like, let me look into that. Let me really think about it before I answer. I'm not going to be, I was an English teacher, so and science teacher the same way. If I don't know 100% what I'm talking about, I'm not going to tell you anything. I will
Right.
be the person that says, I'm going to look into that and make sure I'm telling you the right thing and then come back. So
Which is a good
there's
thing.
that.
Yes, it's
Yes,
good.
exactly. I hope. So
But
anyway.
for everyone in chat, you want to know something special? I've heard that Atlas knows next week's guest.
What? You're tattling on me right now? Oh,
Live on the internet?
oh my God. Oh my God. Am I being?
Tuesday.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
It's
Oh
almost
no.
like you did this to me
Oh,
earlier.
oh,
Is this
what?
payback?
Oh my God.
Is
What?
this karma?
Oh, what? Hold up. What? Oh, Mom, you're here? Oh, Mom, I gotta answer the door.
Hold on,
Oh,
we'll
the
grab him.
karma is real.
What?
Get back here.
What? I was answering the door. You shouldn't drag me back like that. I was. The door's unanswered now.
The door can wait.
Oh. Oh
I
no.
think everyone here would like to know who next week's guest is.
Oh, everybody here wants to know who next week's guest is?
Mhm.
What? I don't think so. I don't see any Tobins in the chat, so I don't think they
Should we
do.
just- yeah.
I don't.
Chat, we need some Tobins and tippy taps. Let's go. Come on.
See, I'm
pronto,
not-
Pronto.
I'm not convinced because I don't see Tippy Taps or Tobins in chat. So, I don't think they're that interested in knowing who's. Oh, that's you. Okay. Oh, hey, that's me. Oh wow. Oh. You know what? I guess maybe they do want. Maybe they do want that. Oh. Oh. Also, Miranda, please enjoy our Tippy Taps.
I really love them. I do. Great. Aw.
Oh, there's the Tobins.
Oh, they're so cute.
I guess I'll. You know, how about this? How about I tell them half of who's gonna be here next week, huh? And then the second person can be a surprise.
Hmm.
I think that'll be
Surprise.
fun. I think that'll be fun.
Okay. Then.
Anticipation.
Hey, before I say who the guest is, hey Cosmic, have you ever been bullied before?
Have I ever been bullied?
Yeah.
Yes, I think I have.
Oh, I've been bullied too. Maybe by even next week's guest.
Oh.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh,
You know, now that I
wow.
think about it, I think I have.
Oh.
Multiple times.
Wow. It's a repeat bully too. They bully us often. Yeah. Anyway, next week's guest will be Vivi again with a second special guest. But that's a secret. That's a
You
secret.
have to tune in. You have to tune in next week.
Yeah, you'll have to come back
Find
next week to figure out who that special guest is.
And speaking of the bully, he reappears in chat.
Yep, there he is. Here to bully
saying
away.
You're better at being bullied than you are at playing games.
I do
resident
hear
bully.
I do hear though that the second special guest will have even more information about the last carrot.
Oh.
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 Maybe if you
Could
tune
be-
in next week, you could figure out where they hide the carrot. Next
What?
week we will have Vivi on again to talk about even more fun things. He was a great guest last time. Lots of information to share. We're gonna dive into the last carrot a little bit more, I think, which will be a lot of fun. And Miranda, if you don't know, the last carrot is a cafe ran in our game. We actually run a cafe in our game.
Nice.
So, and you can order food, there's tables to sit at, there's a kitchen, there's a bar. Oh, what? Oh my god, it's like I set that up for Husky to promote that. Wow, that's crazy.
Insane.
But
How
once
did that happen? Oh,
but once
no.
again, Vivi will be here next week, so get your questions ready. We'll be answering and talking a lot about anything you guys want to talk about, but also we'll be talking about Pride Month. It's currently Pride Month. We'll be talking about the last carrot. We'll be talking about anything and everything. But once again, thanks so much for being our guest this week, Miranda.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was
Absolutely.
a lot of fun. This was definitely a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
last question before we go, and as we're thinking about who to raid, what's it like to be a human surrounded by anime wolf voice?
I know. I feel like I'm a little out of this world, but that sort of is like my forte.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like I said, my partner is really big into anime, and he's
Got it.
been like trying to gently initiate me into the world of it. I know. I lived in Japan, right? You think that would have been it.
Well,
I was like surrounded.
thanks for visiting the cartoon anime world, our cute bedrooms, and hanging out with us, amazing, totally real people.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I was able to change my environment as well. so
Yeah,
I'm a little
through
magical.
magic. Ludo,
Yes.
I hear you. We will raid somebody. I promise, bud. Ludo is getting anxious. We need to raid somebody. He wants to raid somebody.
Definitely.
Um,
Oh my gosh. All right, guys.
I have an idea of who to raid.
and who's that?
Good friend. Oh no, they're playing Fortnite. Oh no. I had to rethink it for a second. They're playing
I was
Fortnite.
thinking we could raid possibly Prince.
Oh, I was gonna
They're-
say Prince or Kimono Butterfly because Kimono
Prince is back to art streams.
Prince is back to art streams. We
Yes.
can raid Prince, but I would also like to let everybody know. Please go send some love to Kimono. She just hit her 800 follower goal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we will raid Prince. That'll be a good time. He's working on Pride banners right now, I think, right?
He is actually doing traditional art right now.
Traditional art.
Not digital this time.
Whoa. Whoa.
But
Insane.
Crazy.
Oh, sorry. Wait, chat might not know who we're raiding. We're raiding Richard.
yeah, Richard.
Yeah, sorry. We didn't use his pride, his vibe
pride.
name.
But anyway, we're gonna go raid Prince, everyone. Thank you so much again for being here for this podcast episode. Thank you again, Minerva.
Minerva, yeah.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Oh
Mhm.
yes, I love this.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us today. It has
Mhm.
been an amazing time. It's been very informative and it's been very fun.
Thank you.
It has been. It has been actually learning things. That's weird.
Crazy how that happens. around
Real
teachers.
knowledge?
That's
It's a
horrible.
shame though that I'll never see you ever again.
Yes, definitely not. It's just the last moment you'll have. Of
Yeah,
my
I'm not
presence.
gonna walk upstairs right after this.
Damn it! I'll jump out the window. You know. I gotta
Oh,
go
oh.
back
Well,
to
if you
my
jump out
uncle.
that window right behind you, you'll actually be closer to me. So
But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, again. We will see you all next week, Friday, right? For the
yes,
Blue
I
Girls
believe
next
so.
Friday.
We'll double check and
I
we'll
think.
let you know for sure.
We'll just keep an eye on our Discords. We'll let you know. But we will see you next week.
Bye,
so much again.
everybody.
Have a good one. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hit the right button.
Me too, and I just hit end.